Natural Antoinette know how to write a book. She knows how to write a book. Hi, friends, and welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Jade, and this is Intricate Knots Reads, your spot for all things Black romance and urban fiction. Today, we are doing a weekly recap. That's right, weekly. I realized as I was filming my July reading recap that trying to remember everything about the books that I read at the end of the month, baby, it's a lot, okay? And especially, I feel like my reading has picked back up, so I'm reading like 10 plus books a month. So I figured that I would start spacing it out to weekly. I might go to 2 weeks depending on how much I've read within a week, but we'll see. But I have read five books in this past week, the first week of August, and so I'm going to share those 5 books with you guys. Per usual, I still got to look at my notes, so give me a moment. All right. First, I would like to say that I am very proud of me because thanks to these 5 books, I'm now back on track in my reading challenge in my Kindle. So, very excited about that. I do mostly track my books through just the reading challenge in Kindle. I have started using Pages, which is the Black owned and created app. And so I've been logging books in there, starting with my July reads. I didn't feel like backtracking to the other books I've read this year because that's crazy. Because as of today, I've read 90 books. My goal for this year is 150. And so it kept saying I was off track, but I am back on track now. So hopefully I will read more than that. Last year, my goal was 75 books, and I ended up reading 100 and something. I'm not exactly sure. I'll put it over here. So yeah, looking to beat my goal this year of 150 books, more than halfway there. According to this, I have 144 days left to read the remaining books. So the remaining, what is that, 60 books. So let's get into the 5 I read this week. The first book I read this week was Kingpin Mine by Amara Bain. Now let me tell you something, okay? I have a never-ending TBR, like many of us, and 9 times out of 10, I'm scrolling on threads, and if I see a bunch of people talking about something, I'm just gonna move it up or just go ahead and jump it on in to wherever I am in my TBR. And so that's what happened with this book. The girlies were talking about it. I'm also in a Facebook group that may or may not be about liking smut books. That's neither here nor there, because yeah, I read those, like we all do. And so I had seen people talking about this book on threads, and then it was mentioned in the Black Girls Love Smut group because I believe the author's in that book. So I was like, you know what, why not? Now, there were moments that I was like, what's going on here? But it was good. For me, it gets 4 stars. So in the book, you have, and I'm going to mess up the character names already, so just don't judge me. All right, so the book opens with a little, hunching. Demarion, I said that right. Demarion, aka D Killer, has just gotten released from prison, apparently early, because he walks in on his girl getting it in with one of his soldiers, apparently, and so the fun ensues. Yes, it is a short erotica. It's only about 45 pages. Now, if you read this book, I don't want you to be judging me because there is a little scene where a gun ends up being part of the fun time. But if you know, you know. Whatever. Not real life. It happens. Fictional world, do what y'all do. Who am I to judge? For me, this book gets 4 stars. All right, the next book I read was 3 of Hearts. And can you guess? It is Polly. Yes, it is. But it is FFM. And it is a novella. So this was also another short read, which shout out to the authors that write novelettes and novellas because you're helping your girl stay on track with her reading. I appreciate you, okay? All right, so what I liked about this book, and I've read another book that's kind of similar in which authors are starting to like bring in the real world, which duh, they always do. But I've read several books in the past couple of months that feature some kind of book festival. I feel like book events are starting to grow, and so a shout out to these authors who are actually putting this inside their books. And so this book, we have a couple who the wife is an author. They go to this book festival. They end up meeting this woman, um, and of course, we get to see some action with the three of them. Now this couple is pining after this woman. There is some confusion, some communication issues that they have to work out, but this was also a jolly, fun, good time. Only 106 pages, so something you could read in a day, day and a half if you're looking to up your stats. I enjoyed this one, and it also got 4 stars for me. All right, next up, I read Half Court Shot, which is a sapphic sports romance. I actually picked up this book, and I think it's in one of the hauls that I did earlier in the month from Trope Bookshop in Charlotte while I was visiting. This was one of the physical reads that I read this week. So you have Danny and Perry. Danny is a professional women's bookball. She is a professional women's basketball player, so she is part of a team in the WNBA, and she is being traded to a new team, hopefully to revive that team. Perry works in the marketing office, and her father actually owns the team that Danny is being traded to, or looking to be traded to. We then find out that Danny and Perry actually already know each other and knew each other in high school, had a crush on each other, but Perry ends up moving away with her father. They don't see each other again, lose touch. I really enjoyed this book. This is the first book by Kimani May, and it's also the first book in the series. I can't remember exactly what the series name is called right this second, but the second book just came out in July, and that is called Home Court Advantage. So I'm going to be getting into that book next. I enjoyed this book because I liked, it also has a fake dating trope. And I love me a fake dating situation because you get to see like the angst between them. Like they know this is supposed to be fake, but no one else knows it's supposed to be fake. And just seeing that dynamic, one of my favorite things in a book. So I enjoyed this read. It received 4 stars for me. Next up, we have Sweets Like Brown Sugar by Shay Dawn. I absolutely love Shay Dawn. She is another one of those authors that she wrote it, I'm going to read it. And I am proud to say, with the exception of her latest full-length book, I've read everything that she's written. So you may have heard of the book Love at a Funeral. That's Shay Dawn. So enjoyed that book. She is so funny as a writer. Like her books are truly rom-coms. Like I several times laugh out loud while I'm reading her books. So that is something that I appreciate. Sweet Like Brown Sugar is a spicy short. And it gave exactly what she said it would. Literally, she posted on Threads that she was putting this book out. It's going to be available for $1.50. I said, of course, girl, sign me up. I'm here. So in this short, you have your MMC, who is Graham. We're talking about tall, dark, and handsome. He is a personal trainer, and I believe he owns a gym. And then we have Beignet. Yes, her name is Beignet, aka Benny. I'm trying to remember what Benny does for a living, child. I don't remember. Either way, Graham and Benny are neighbors. And of course, somebody needing some brown sugar comes into play during this book. The book opens with her falling on the stairs, which again, Shay Dawn is hilarious in her writing. But Benny falls on her steps. Graham ends up helping her, picking up her groceries and her. And I said, oh, that's how we doing it, straight out the gate. Love to see it. Love to see it. This was a 5-star read for me from beginning to end. It left me lacking nothing. It had all the spice that was necessary and needed. So if you want a quick read, I want to say this was between 60 or 80 pages. Do yourself a favor, go over on her website and purchase Sweet Like Brown Sugar. My last read of the week, that was a real country when I said that. My God. My last read of the week was Silent Surrender by Netra Antoinette. And let me tell you something. Netra Antoinette know how to write a book. She knows how to write a book. I was excited to read this book. I was trying to get it an advanced reader copy earlier in the year before it came out, but neither here nor there. Um, I consumed this book in two ways. So, like I've said previously, I don't necessarily immersive read. I will like read with my eyes and say it's like the book is so good. I want to be able to continue it as I'm out and about doing things, so I will get the audiobook so that I can continue to read. So I did this one the same. So I listened to probably the first half of the book, and then I read the rest on my Kindle. This is a thriller slash suspense romance. So we have our FMC, who is Stormy, and she is one of three. She has two other sisters, and they are vigilantes, if you will. So the book opens with a flashback of their past, and of Stormy doing something not so great to their stepfather. And then we fast forward and we meet the girls as adults. This book focuses on Stormy, who is the oldest. I can't remember if they're triplets or not, but Stormy is referred to as the oldest throughout the book. And so, like I said, they are vigilantes, and so men who abuse women, pedophiles, they handle them. And I said, we like that very much. The thriller and suspense comes in because Stormy meets Niles. Niles is a former homicide detective, but he has left the force and is now doing personal training, and protection classes, personal defense. There we go, defense classes. She works at a church. This is also how she finds the people that they, and is a counselor. And he ends up coming to the church to help do youth classes and all sorts of stuff, support with her youth groups. So in the midst of this, there is romance, but there's a lot of messiness. And I said, and then I thought back, because this is not my first Netra Antoinette read. I've read Whole Phase. I've read Body Count. Chef's Kiss, so good. So for me, this was definitely like right up her alley. I could see her moving into this realm because some of her other books kind of have these same kind of elements in them. This book had me in it from beginning to the end. Even like towards the end of the book, it really, the action really then picks up, probably the last like 25% of the book, to the point that like I'm laying there. I'm supposed to be asleep. I was supposed to be asleep, but I stayed up to finish this book. I remember saying to my man, I was like, what time is it? And he's like, oh, it's like close to midnight. I was like, oh, this has only got 37 minutes left in this book. I'm finna stay up till I finish it. And I'm so glad I did. This book was so good. Character development, to really understand the motivations behind the actions of all of the characters. She took us there. I highly recommend this book. It was a 5-star read from me. If you are looking for something that is more suspenseful, not as lovey-dovey, this is definitely something you want to pick up. This week coming up, I am, like I said, in my July wrap-up, I'm challenging myself to read more of my physical books. So I've read half Court Shot. So that was my first physical book. I need to read at least 3 more. So I'm going to be picking something from back here. I'll let you know. You'll see. I'm thinking maybe Token. Because at this point right now in my life, I understand, my Lord, what it means to be the token black person in the room, in a space, what have you. So I think I want to get into that. But I also know for certain I started doing a reread of Capone because I have all of the Delgado, Infernos, Casilli books in the physical form. So I'm definitely going to be reading those. I have 2 books that I'm in the middle of on my Kindle as well. So I will be updating you guys with my reads for this upcoming week very, very soon. That is it for me. Until next time.